first series of, hopefully to be many series of our Let's Talk. Apparently I'm already hilarious, so we're off to a great start. Cool. So, obviously you guys know me, I'm Miss Meowtastic. I am here with a lovely assortment of friends. I selected this group of people because not only are they all like very well spoken, but we also share a lot of conversations about like eating well and fitness, and I just think that they're awesome resources. I also just realized that chat is blocking all of our faces, so I am just going to disable chat on screen just for now. Cool. So I figured we'd just start off by just introducing ourselves, and just tell me a little bit about yourselves. Mrs. Figgies, if you would like to go first.
Sure. Hi everyone, my name is Mrs. Figgies, aka Alex. Some of you may know me because I am a mod. I am a dance gamer. I also stream, and I'm here to talk about fitness and eating and all that fun stuff with you guys. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Chris, do you want to go next?
What's up, everyone? I'm krismarqz. I'm a veteran dance game player of, 15 years, over half my life.
It's crazy.
Playing these crazy games. I am also a former content creator. I used to stream on Twitch and ran a podcast throughout 2019. I've been inactive for the past year or so, just due to a lack of access, but overall, I am looking forward to this talk, and I am probably going to be doing a lot of hand waving whenever I talk about things, but hopefully it still makes sense and gives you all some good input regardless.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. Nyla, would you like to go next?
Hi everyone, my name is Nyla. I've been playing dance games for over half my life. I'm a boomer now. Some people accidentally call me Nayla. Pre-COVID, I was running a lot of women's dance game tournaments. I can see Alex laughing her ass off over there. So I like healthy eating. I love having a healthy lifestyle, and we're just here to talk about life.
I love it. I love it. I actually wrote your name down phonetically so that I don't because I remember at Storm 2019 we would all jokingly say Nayla, and then it gets stuck in my head, so I'm trying to break that.
Nayla.
So it is Nyla. Also, hi everyone. I am reading your comments. I'm doing my best to let everyone talk and just not talk over them. So hi everyone. Other Alex, would you like to go next?
Sure. I'm strikarz. I actually do stream on Twitch as well. I don't stream dance games. I actually stream Resident Evil 3 Remake right now. I'm trying to go faster and faster and faster. Anyway, I've been playing dance games for, now you're actually making me think about this. That's rude. For 17 years, so half of my life. But I haven't been playing recently for very obvious reasons. The only one is D&B in Orlando, and people in Florida don't believe that certain things exist, so I don't go there. But I actually lost a ton of weight because of DDR. I used to be almost 300 pounds, and that was my start into the fitness realm. Got down to around 200, and then I started lifting afterwards. So dance games have started my fitness thing, and now I have to keep up with it ever since I've been young, because I wasn't thin when I was younger. So fitness is a big thing.
Awesome. I appreciate that. And last but not least, Sujit, if you don't mind.
Hello, I'm Sujit. Go by teejusb. I first played dance games in 2005, kind of on and off, and then I really got into the community around 2012. I'm here to talk about food and stuff, because Patty asked me to be on. I was like, this sounds like an interesting topic, and it'd be nice to have a discussion with people and social interactions in a time where you don't get a lot of that. So, hello.
Awesome. Thank you everyone for sharing. I didn't get to share, mostly because everyone in chat I think knows me, but I am Miss Meowtastic. My name is Patty Ann. the reason I want to do this is because I very often, like, these topics come up on my channel, and I want to dive into it more. But I'm usually, either going for a quad that I may never get, or trying to. Oh, hold on. I'm trying to, like, kill somebody in Apex. So I wanted to take the opportunity to chat more with everyone about this. My quick backstory, I guess, is I used to be like 50 pounds, or I used to be like pretty overweight, and I lost 50 pounds combination of playing dance games, and unfortunately during the pandemic I gained quite a bit of that back, about 30 pounds actually. So right now, obviously, it's with the pandemic, it's kind of hard to live life the way that we used to. So I just kind of wanted to chat about how everyone has been sort of adjusting right now. Hold on. Discord is being funky and moving everyone's face, so I keep having to move my chat, my face. So cool. Thank you guys for everyone for sharing. So speaking of the pandemic, I would love to hear from you guys, like, what the biggest hurdle for you has been. Whoever wants to go first is fine.
Are we talking about health hurdles, or are we talking about COVID hurdles?
Like health hurdles, like how it relates back to eating habits and fitness and everything.
I guess I'll go first. Oh, okay. Go for it, Nyla.
Okay. So the first thing that happened is the arcade shut down, gym shut down. So now you're left in a position where you're kind of quarantining and you don't really know what to do, and you're afraid to go to the grocery store. So all of a sudden, all of our lives and all of our routines just got thrown out of order. And I feel like that's where people started gaining the weight, was initially, because that, it's a lifestyle. So when you go from going to the grocery store every certain day and working out certain days to nothing, that gap of figuring out how to adjust is where you kind of start to gain that weight back. So for me, and on top of all the stuff that you're dealing with, a lot of people, including myself, I ended up essentially unemployed for about a month or two. So I'm here trying to figure this out, and the weight and the health is the last thing that I'm worried about in terms of weight. So when I finally figured it, kind of stabilized a little bit more, I substituted playing at arcades for playing at home. And I wasn't playing as much, and I wasn't going to the gym as much. So what I did was I just started doing home workouts at least once a day, and I would play pump every other day. So that was like one of the biggest shifts. So it hasn't been the same, and I had to reduce calorie intake because I was playing DDR for you go from playing at an arcade for 3 hours a day versus now you're playing at home for an hour. So it's kind of a big difference, and we don't really notice that because our focus just hasn't been on healthy eating. So that's kind of been my challenge, is just trying to put my mind back into, hey, you still have that routine to maintain if you want to maintain your goals. So that was it for me. Anybody next?
I'll go next. So I saw what MXL said in the chat, and she has a very good point. So for me personally, I didn't want to go to the store. I didn't want to go out. So I would order DoorDash every single day. And I got so demotivated with cooking and just having the energy or the mental capacity to just be okay, I'm gonna get up and cook every single meal and get through my day when I work from home already. So I'm stuck at home all day, and it's all I want to do is go out, but you can't really go out. So I had to completely shift the way that I was living, and I was very fortunate. I have dance game machines in my house, and I have a Peloton, which for those of you who don't know what Peloton is, it's like an exercise bike with live classes, and it has an app that you can actually do other workouts. So I had to adjust to be doing to do some of that. I had to get motivated to start running outside. which I love to do anyway, but it's like I had a baby back in 2019, so it made it a little bit harder. So it's like all these things were coming in, and you like basically have to make this new thing. Like Nyla was saying, it's like this whole new sort of routine. And once you get into it, it's not as bad, but I've also had to tell myself that it's okay if I don't do an exercise this day or that day, because there's a lot of like mental like fatigue that comes along with it as well.
Yeah, I echo a lot of what you said. I'm writing notes so I can address it later. But Chris, Alex, Suji, if you have anything to add, feel free.
Yeah.
I want to
So
go ahead.
Oh, so this is I'm a very adaptive person by nature, and I actually had spiral fractured this arm. I have a scar right here that goes this length right here. I spiral fractured it like 7 years ago, and I had to dramatically drop my calories because I went from working out 4 or 5 times a week to nothing because I couldn't go to the gym because I had a plate in my arm. And if I put too much pressure onto it, I could have broken my arm again. So this wasn't the first time I've had to make a major modification. So I immediately dropped calories the minute this whole thing hit. I was bowling like 4 or 5 times a week because I am attempting to go pro, or was going to work towards that, and then that went out the window. And I was going to the gym like 3 or 4 times a week, so I was incredibly active. So I had to drop my calories by like 40%, like that. So like I had to make adaptive changes, and I was fortunate I was able to at least maintain my weight, but my activity went to the only thing I was doing to work out was riding a bike 2 or 3 times a week, and it really sucked because your mental health takes a huge tank, because I find exercise actually increases my mental health and clarity. I don't know about any of you.
Yeah.
And I actually, and now my latest adaptation is that I actually have built I live in an RV, so I have very limited space. So I built a gym outdoors in the yard of outside my RV with an awning on top of it, so I can at least have some weights, because it's not, gym's one of the least safe places you can go right now, especially in Florida where everything's open.
Yeah, I'm in Florida too.
Yeah. I'm on the west side, know, and then everybody else. I feel like everybody's on the other coast.
Yeah, I don't think we've met. Right?
Yeah, I think you're southeast, right?
Yeah.
I'm near Tampa, so yeah. So I don't think. Yeah, I've only been to Miami once.
Okay.
Awesome. I appreciate you sharing. Chris, if you want to go next.
I want to echo a lot of the same sentiments about, a break in routine and, adjusting to a new way of life, being more contained at home and having less options. And also, for me, I can also relate to cutting calories, because although I have a fairly high maintenance calorie limit, that after going from playing dance games to failure 3 or 4 times a week to nothing, especially at the beginning of quarantine, and still eating the same way, it's just not going to work. And for me, my dad's side of the family has autoimmune issues, so deal a lot with inflammation, with hormone problems, just body not working properly unless you really go out of your way to feed it the right things and be able to stimulate I guess activity. I guess that's the only way I can describe it generically. Exercise helps out so much with being able to get toxins out of your body and be able to get nutrients into it. So in addition to cutting calories, it then became even more important to clean up my diet, because I'm not getting the benefits of rigorous exercise as often. So I need to do more on the diet side to make sure that everything's functioning properly. So it's tough, especially when you want to comfort eat a lot in such a stressful and difficult time.
Yeah.
Ice cream every day crew checking in over here.
Yeah. Cheez-Its everyday crew right here.
Cheez-Its.
Oh, the two Cheez-Its extra toasty.
Nah, reduced fat. Sujit, if you want to go next.
Suji,
Oh, can't hear you.
Oh, my bad.
Thank you, Ali. I'm gonna change that.
Yeah, so I'll say that, like, I don't think the pandemic changed my diet itself per se too much, but it did change some of my routines.
Ali, is that better?
So, you know, pre-pandemic, I would eat at work, and my workplace is pretty good at providing meals and snacks throughout the day. So I would eat a lot just from there. So not having that luxury of going to the office means I was like supplementing it elsewhere. So I noticed I found myself sort of ordering out a little bit more, which I'm not saying that I order out like food that I think is bad, but I just noticed I you know, the quantity of how much stuff I order out is definitely a lot more post-pandemic. But this is something I realized. So I also started cooking more at home. So I've been trying out like new recipes that, you know, stuff that I wanted to make. So I've been doing that every so often. But yeah, I also have found myself that I play less dance games now, because at least in the past, like I would go to round one a lot more often, because it's like both something I do for fun and also like a way to like interact with people. But now I don't really have that, and I find, I guess, dance games a little bit less fun if I'm not like hanging out with people, doing it with other people. But that being said, I'm still trying to. That's also another thing I recognize. So I have I'm trying to like find other ways to get exercise. So like I got a set of dumbbells and like a bench to try to do some home exercises. But these are like some of the things that I've done during the pandemic to kind of adapt to the situation that we're kind of living in.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for sharing, everyone. Just want to say swole Sujit. Just want to put that out there.
I feel like though I have lost weight, which is not good considering I don't weigh that much to begin with. So I'm trying to offset that. I have to move in a couple of weeks, so after the move, I'm planning on setting up like a regime to try to put on some more weight.
Yeah. It's interesting how
Just do
different.
the bro diet. Go mad. Gallon of milk a day. Boom. You'll put that weight on like that.
That's a lot of milk.
It's interesting how similar our struggles are, but how different they like the whole situation has affected us. You know, some people are dealing with like extra weight being added on and not and other people are dealing with losing weight. We're all dealing with the entire routine around food being changed for us. And that I know for me has been kind of a struggle. I wrote down some things I wanted to respond to. The biggest thing being that routine change. I don't think, at least I speak for at least myself. I don't think people realize how much we rely on a routine to kind of get us through every day. Like I know for me personally, like I like wake up, I shower, I make a protein shake, I get ready for work, put on makeup, and then I leave for work with that protein shake. And then whatever lunch I bring for the day or plan on buying. And not being able to go to the grocery store as often as I've been able to before has really kind of messed with me personally. The last 3 times I've gone to the grocery store in the last couple of months, I've had a panic attack each time because of how many people were there and how people weren't social distancing. And I was freaking out about, you know, people touching their mask and then touching a product and then putting it back on the shelf. And I have always been such a germaphobe. So being at like seeing this happening, I couldn't handle it. So I've actually switched to Instacart, at least for now. I get groceries delivered to me, so I don't have to, you know, go through the stress of being at a grocery store. Eating out is a big one that I think a few of you also mentioned. And MXL in chat also mentioned that in the beginning of the pandemic, you know, we were kind of ordering out a lot. And I know here personally, it was in an attempt to kind of support all the local mom and pop shops, and then it just becomes you become almost like reliant on that, because your mental health is wearing on you and you don't want to go out of the way to actually cook. At least for me.
Yeah, I can feel that.
Yeah. And then Mrs. Figgies, you touched on something that I really want to comment on, and you mentioned how telling yourself it's okay if you don't work out or eat well. That is something I am literally still struggling with. I have days, like say for example, 5 days in a row where I go to CrossFit, I eat really well, and then on that 6th day I order McDonald's and I get a milkshake, and I like the overall trend of what I'm doing is great. However, that in the moment I like beat myself up, and the pandemic is already like beating up me mentally. So I don't need to like add on that additional stress, when in reality that one day of less than ideal food options isn't actually going to like make or break your entire, journey. I really like that you brought that up. I have another question, but before I move on to that, was there anything else any of you wanted to add to that, or anyone in chat?
There's something I want to add to that when it comes to fast food and it comes to, those days where you just order DoorDash. Never get to the end of your groceries. You know how like the first day that you've brought home groceries, you've got all the good food, you eat all like your favorite stuff. And then when it's like starting to get time to get to like go to the grocery store again and you're down to like the stuff you don't really want to eat, that's when you order fast food, or that's when you order something that's just like a really heavy meal. So, I mean, when you're trying to avoid impulsive like meals, it's probably a good idea to just make sure you always have something that you actually like in the fridge. But it's hard because of the pandemic, because you're trying not to go to the grocery store so frequently. So it's good that you got Instacart, but it's like Alex said, you have to forgive yourself when you have when you just eat what you want, because you have to eat what you want every once in a while. You don't have to eat healthy 100% of the time. Most diets that are catered towards a consistent diet include like a cheat meal, or it's like eat 17 good meals and 3 whatever you want meals. Like there aren't many diets that are meant to be consistent diets that don't include unhealthy food, because that's just not feasible. So
unless you have a very masochistic personality that can handle it.
who the hell has that? Like who wants to be unhappy?
Go talk to some fitness influencers. You'd be surprised at what they preach. That's all. That's just my opinion.
But are they happy? Because that's the
Probably
important
not.
thing. Again, like your mental health actually plays a big role in like fitness and just like even weight loss. Like if you're trying to lose weight and you're stressed out all the time, you're not going to lose weight. And a good point of what Nyla said, like having that cheat meal actually helps your metabolism. And there's also a way to kind of incorporate it into your, like say for example, you're counting calories, you can moderate and like actually add those calories into your daily calories and not go over. I've actually been doing that lately, and it works. And it's, you could still lose weight and do that sort of thing. So it's not the end of the world if you have fast food or something, there's a way to make it work.
Yeah.
The most extreme example I have of it doesn't matter what food you necessarily eat. I'm not saying that you should do this, just that, it proved the point. A guy ate nothing but Twinkies for like a month or two, and he lost weight eating Twinkies all the time. That was the only thing he ate. Like he must have felt absolutely god awful, because there's no nutritional value to Twinkies whatsoever. But it's like that's why it's like you don't need to go to extremes in order to maintain a weight loss or maintain a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
Extremes I find is where you run into a lot of problems. Like I've run into problems where I got down in weight I got pretty lean, but then I was like I had like anorexia nervosa where I would avoid foods entirely, and it was really bad for my mental health. I labeled foods as good and bad, and like if I ate something that was bad, then I would like blow out on a binge. Like it was like I've going down that path is like it's what is it? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. So like moderation is what kind of saved me from going down that path further.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
It's not sustainable.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned a couple of things I actually want to touch on, and something that Allie just said. I'm overweight right now. I'm just gonna be blunt. I need to lose 20 more pounds, and I'll be like in a better range for myself. However, weight does not define healthiness. And the example I'm going to use is one of my friends who I, in my mind, view as really skinny, super fit. Visually, that's what she looks like to me, because that's what I think of when I see her. She is out of breath when she goes up one flight of stairs. I do not get that way, and I am heavier than her. That is a very easy example, talking about how weight does not equal health. That being said, I do know that the extra, fat that I have on my body puts extra pressure on my organs, which is why I want to lose the weight. Not because I want to look thinner, but because I just want to be healthier. I want to do what I can to take care of my body. So I wanted to touch base on that. And then also labeling of food. This is something that is so hard, and I'm sure all of you, everyone here can relate to, is labeling food. I look at a Twinkie and I'm like, oh, that's bad. I look at McDonald's, oh, that's bad. I look at brownies, bad. But in reality, it's moderation. Like, you have to eat what you want and what your body needs in moderation. Sure, you could eat lettuce all day. Lettuce is a quote unquote good food. You could eat that all day, but you're not getting your full nutrients because there's no protein in lettuce unless I'm unaware. And even if there was protein in lettuce, you'd have to eat like so much lettuce to even get what your body needs per day. It's a disgusting amount of lettuce. So yeah, I wanted to comment on both of those. Suji, Chris, did you guys have anything to add before the next question?
I know someone in the dancing community who I'm pretty sure a lot of us already know, but I don't want to, to say it. But he's like technically defined as obese, but he's like super fit. He's just really short, which is why, why the BMI scale like doesn't always work. But he's done martial arts for like his whole life, can do backflips, but he's obese.
Yeah. Oh my God. Nyla and Mrs. Figgies and I have spoken at length about BMI and how it is the literal worst thing. It wasn't even created by a doctor. Did you guys know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. BMI was not created by a doctor, and yet there are doctors that use it. It is insanity.
I think BMI has value as a guideline, but it should definitely not be taken as like any sort of truth.
No, not at all.
The place where it's accurate and like actually like the problem is underweight. Like that's something where it's like it's pretty
Serena.
hard to be like it's pretty hard to be like, oh no I'm not underweight. It's like, well, according to this, it's like you should probably be like 15 pounds heavier. So I think there's merit on the upper end too for people that are sedentary, but for people that are active or have muscle mass, you just throw it out the window because it's not helpful. According to the BMI, I'm obese. Like, so it's like, yeah. So I take it with, I would need to be 60 pounds lighter, and the lightest I've ever been, and I had a 6-pack. It was 190. And I'm like, there's no way I can get to 180 pounds and not be like death.
My BMI says I'm borderline obese.
What? Wait, that's shocking.
Yeah, so I barely made that insurance discount cut, but really insurance companies are the ones that use it. But it doesn't tell the full story. It doesn't tell you, it only measures your height and your weight. It ignores muscle and ignores body fat. So for anybody who just doesn't work out and is just like, I don't want to say skinny fat, but really it just measures like just your weight, and that doesn't paint the whole story for people who work out.
You're also talking to somebody. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just a useless tool. So like, yeah, I mean, it's like you said, if you're underweight, it's really hard underweight is underweight in most cases, because if you weigh lower than what is normal for your height, there's no way you have muscle because you have not been eating enough to eat, to maintain your muscle. So it just happens to be that the BMI would probably paint an accurate picture there, but for anything else, no.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Chris, if you want to go.
I mean, you guys are preaching, with the
Yeah.
with the calling out BMI for for what it is and not one true scale of health, but also
My
when you think
DoorDash.
about there we go. But but also with the the mismatch of like appearance and overall health, because if I can kind of relate to periods of time where like I've maybe looked healthier, to where I was lifting weights a lot and was crash dieting to cut, and for like a beach trip, and it just felt like crap the entire time. It was like, and I kind of wondered to myself, like in the moment where I'm like on the beach, just like looking good but just feeling terrible, and like do I really care that much if I've got like a little pooch in my stomach, or if like maybe my arms are not as well defined, and back then, like especially when you're younger, you don't really think about that or place a whole lot of value on it. But now, like I just turned 29, I'm about to turn 30, i'm I'm still within some sort of physical prime, but eventually I'm not going to be there anymore, and it really doesn't matter at the end of the day, especially once you get into like your 30s, 40s, and beyond. Like it matters a lot less. The fine details of like how your body looks, and more about your wellness. Like, do you get winded going up a flight of stairs, or can you function on a daily basis without tons of caffeine and other you know other like quick shot energy things. So wellness to me definitely matters a lot more now than it did a few years past, and I think that is something that I think we can all rate a lot more highly, and that provides really the best quality of life improvement over looking good for an Instagram photo.
I wanted to touch on the thing that you said about like when you felt like crap. So this is an example of like when I was having issues with like binging. So when I was lean, in one weekend, it was my graduation party weekend, I ate like over 3 days. I ate over 25,000 calories because I was so hungry, and I had such an insatiable appetite. So that should give you an idea of like I know what you mean, like, oh, getting lean. It's like, oh, I look good, but it's like I feel freaking terrible. And then afterwards, I felt even worse because I just ate that much food in 3 days and was a bloated mess. So, like, I totally feel you on that.
I gotta say personally, something that really humbled me and really made me just I mean, I've always been against BMI, but this really put it into perspective is when I got pregnant. And I know some of you knew me when I was pregnant. I was very, very active. I actually had gained over 75 pounds, which a doctor would be like, that is not okay. Like, that is completely unhealthy. But I was exercising about 5 days a week. I was playing dance games. Obviously, I was being careful with how I was doing it. And like, I had no issues. I had a very easy pregnancy. I had a very, like easy delivery, and I didn't have any sort of like health issues at all, even though I was over 200 pounds. Like I was really overweight, and I actually technically am still obese, but being active and everything, like that weight doesn't matter when you're like here's all this muscle and stuff. And just like being able to show that to doctors, like, you can see my weight and see that I am extremely like obese, but like I'm able to do all these things, like exercise wise and everything. And even after I gave birth and I'm trying to like rebuild my stamina again, like my dance game skill like right now, some of it is better than it was before I was pregnant. And I'm like 50, I'm like 50 pounds heavier right now than when I was before I got pregnant. So it's like building muscle and everything, like you need it to, obviously do like exercises and stuff like that. But it like just completely makes BMI this like a thing of a past. Like you don't need it, and it's, the way you look and feel is really like what matters. And if you're feeling great, like do what makes you happy, and enjoy it, because you only live once, really. YOLO. But for real, it's true.
Thank you, guys. Nyla, I saw you had your hand raised so politely.
I was gonna make a joke about, because he was talking about wellness, and like for most of us the goal is wellness. Honestly, you have to be honest with yourself. My goal was always just like looking hot, and I'm just like, I just want to look hot till the day I die. But it also happens that I want to be healthy, so I do eat healthy foods. But I think it's important, like when you're talking about lifelong lifestyle goals, you have to ask yourself, what do I really want more than anything? Because that's what's going to make you stick to whatever lifestyle it is that you've chosen that like works best for you. So like you can't you have to be really honest with yourself when it comes to that kind of stuff. So like if you are binge eating, you have to be honest, like instead of blaming, because we tend to blame ourselves. So like you mentioned that you binge ate because you were really, really hungry, and then like, Patty says, well, I ate like 1,000 French fries on a Friday night. Instead of blaming yourself, you have to like ask yourself, why am I doing that? Why did I end up extremely hungry? Am I not eating enough during the day? Did I skip meals? Because when you skip meals, like some people can skip meals and be on a keto diet and they don't feel the urge to binge. But other people, if they don't eat throughout the day, they can't resist that urge to eat a shit ton of food when they finally do get the chance to eat. So, you have to ask yourself, am I going to eat 5 meals a day, or should I be eating less? Like you have to kind of figure that out. Like instead of blaming yourself, ask yourself, no, what would actually work for me? So for me personally, I eat a lot of small portions throughout the day. Why? Because when I don't eat, I get hangry and then I want to eat a lot. So, and about the DoorDash thing, I order DoorDash like every Friday because that's my treat to myself. So yeah, I mean, it's not because I ran out of groceries. That was kind of funny.
Treat yourself.
I just thought the timing of that was impeccable.
You totally called yourself out with that.
I did.
To add on to what you said, Nyla, about like the whole binging from not eating, that goes the same with not eating foods that you think are bad, because the more you resist it, the more you're going to want to binge it. So if you're like giving yourself a little bit like, oh, I want ice cream, and you keep resisting that urge, eventually you're going to probably give in and have like a whole bunch of ice cream, versus let me just have a little bit, and like it's not going to affect you if you have a little bit of ice cream, and you're also curbing that that urge to just completely stuff your face with ice cream. Who doesn't want to do that?
Keep going. I'm listening.
Yeah, feelings of deprivation lead to strong feelings of desire. So you have to give yourself something. It's okay, I'm gonna give you, I was craving soda, which I never crave. So like I poured myself, I'm gonna show you how much I poured myself. I literally poured myself this much soda earlier. Wait, where's the camera? That much. And then that's how, like if I crave soda, which is not really like usually, because instead of soda, I drink tea. But when I do, this is how much I'll drink, which might seem ridiculous to some people, but that's what works for me, because it'll curb the urge to like drink a gallon at 4 a.m.
It's very specific, like it has happened before.
I've binge eaten. I have eaten an entire cinnamon cake in like 2 days, like half the cake one night and half the cake the next night. Back when I didn't know myself, back when I didn't know what works for me.
I appreciate everyone's honesty here. This is awesome. It kind of makes me feel better about all of the horrible eating habits I used to kind of have, and then some of the ones I still do. The moderation thing, again, like you guys mentioned, when I first started that first like 50-pound weight loss journey, I was like, I am not going to eat pasta, not going to eat brownies. And like the first opportunity that I got to have those items, I had like 5 times the amount that I should have because I had missed it. And I learned over that journey that moderation is so important because it balances out. It's a good balance between eating well and like that mental health piece, which is so important. And I feel like just so many people don't realize how much it plays into a lifestyle change, like when it comes to eating. The next question that I have, what is the best tip that you can share? So thinking about eating well, fitness, just like from your personal experience, like what's the best tip that you can share? I will call on Sujit just so we have some organization and no one talks over each other.
All right. Let's see. I think so. There are definitely ups and downs when I'm like eating and making meals. But I think the times where I feel like it's the best are the days when I actually plan out what I'm actually going to eat. At least for like the week. Just like meal prep is really good. I started doing a thing where I make a smoothie every morning, and it's like I look forward to it every day, and it's like it also helps. It's like I don't have to think about what I want to make or something, so I save time in that way. But yeah, meal prepping and having like a plan of what you're gonna eat and like either making it beforehand or like allocating time to do it is like a good way to just kind of be disciplined about what you're gonna eat and what you want to make. And I found that was good.
Yeah, that's a super awesome tip. I also have a chocolate protein shake every day, regardless of whether I worked out or not. The amount of like protein I put into the cup is just enough for like the amount of protein I need throughout the day. And it's something I look forward to because it is so easy. I don't have to actually cook, and I can just pour like almond milk and protein. I use plant protein powder, pour that into a bottle, and I just take it on my way to work. Thank you, Sujit. Mrs. Fig.
I do the same thing with I meal prep. I cook. I just an agreement. I cook a bunch of pork and pork medallions that come from Costco. They are phenomenal. They're like pre-seasoned. I throw them in my air fryer, and then they're like there anytime I want some protein or a protein meal. Just throw them in, and then you're good to go. I don't have to think about it.
And you're flexing with that air fryer action.
Actually, it's a Ninja Foodie, so it's not just an air fryer. I can flex a lot harder than that.
Thank you, Sujit, for sharing. Other Alex, would you like to go?
Sure. So I guess based on like what has worked for me over the years, I should say. So having a routine. I feel like when you're in a routine, it just keeps you, I want to say motivated because motivation's its own thing, but you're like, you have this system going and you just get so used to it. And so it makes it easier. And as you go along with it, it gets easier and easier. So like, for example, what I mean by this, like I had mentioned, I was not cooking. I was getting takeout and delivery when this pandemic thing started. And I got myself in the habit of cooking. And when I started getting myself in the habit of cooking, I think I ate out maybe not even once a week because I got myself on a routine. And in addition to that, like I learned how to incorporate moderation so that I could still enjoy the foods that I love, like ramen. I love ramen. And being able to have that and still be in this routine and not getting myself thrown off. I think like if you're able to do that, like it goes along with the meal prepping. When you're meal prepping, you're putting yourself in a routine. And so I think that's super important to keep yourself on track.
Awesome. I do agree with that as well. The routine is so important. I can't imagine the mental hurdle that one would have to go through every day if you don't plan out your meals. At least for me, because I love eating. I love food. So planning it out helps, me eat well. Chris, would you like to go next?
I would agree with the planning things out and thinking beforehand, like, what you're going to eat and roughly when. For me, I augment that a little bit because like I like to allow myself to be impulsive sometimes. So like I'll have like kind of a small set of meals that are um are kind of crafted based on like the nutrients that I want or need. So, and then I have like various different options and ways of getting there. So, I'll usually eat pretty much like the same 2 or 3 meals, um, for like breakfast, lunch, dinner, in those options. But it's kind of a nice middle ground of knowing what I'm going to eat, like being able to know how to do it very well. So it kind of curbs the laziness aspect of like, I don't want to make this. It seems hard. It's something that I know how to do, and it's something that I can do without thinking. Um, and also, I think going one step further than that is kind of changing my relationship with food, in the sense that like when I was a kid and as a young adult, I was an incredibly picky eater and would really didn't want anything I didn't want to eat anything that didn't feel good, like inside my mouth. Like I wanted to eat tasty food only. I didn't care about, you know, nutrition really that much. And um, then I kind of got a wake up call when I guess it was a few years ago, where I had such a bad, set of diet. It was kind of a combination of bad diet, stress, and lack of exercise, where, my own autoimmune issues kind of caught up with me, and ended up going to the ER. And it was, I was very surprised to be there at 25, thinking like, I was invincible at the time. And then it kind of got me to realize that, food is not only like a source of, pleasure and dopamine and not feeling hungry. It's a lot more than that. You know, it can be something that really helps you a lot. And that, vegetables can taste pretty good sometimes if you, let yourself like them. And that instead of looking at food, as a pleasure source, it was like, okay, food is an investment, into my body. Like I want to put in food that's going to give me, it's going to give me vitality. It's going to give me energy and you know, allow me to function really well. And, that changed everything to where suddenly, like over time, as I built up that habit, I realized that I wanted to eat vegetables. I wanted to have a balanced diet. I didn't want to eat, junk food all the time. And that problem just kind of went away, to where like, overall, like eating out happens fairly rarely. And, I don't have those cravings as often. And if I do end up kind of going into like you know, end up having kind of a multi-day, uh, I don't care, I'll eat whatever I want session, I kind of crave the healthy food because I want that, feeling back in my body of, you know, of lightness and energy and just feeling like I've got what I need. So, um, ultimately, like, getting into a routine and looking at food in a more, like investment sense really helped me a lot.
I like that terminology, looking at food as an investment. I like that a lot. It just got me thinking, like the price of food really bothers me. Say you have $10. You can get 10 $1 cheeseburgers with that $10. Or you can get like 75% of a salad from Panera, because Panera salads are pretty pricey. That's another hi Kyle, by the way. That's another struggle I think a lot of people have, is just the access to better food. It's hard when you don't have the money all the time or the access to it, and it's easier to go to McDonald's down the street and order a bunch of food for your day versus the grocery store. It's maybe like half an hour away. But yeah, I agree, Lalapo. I love the way that Chris put it. Nyla, would you like to go next? Just to remind everyone here and whoever's coming in, our question was, what's the best tip that you can share? One
So my
pomegranate.
best tip is, and I've been reiterating this, to be honest with yourself. So, and I like how everybody's touched on like all their different personal struggles and the different kind of healthy eating they do, and everyone here is living a healthy lifestyle. So I think you have to individualize, like, because there's many different types of diets out there and there's many different types of workouts out there where you can just pick and choose which one you like. Because like, what is it that makes us play dance games? What is it that's been making us play them for so many freaking years? Is we love it and we look forward to it. So why wouldn't it be the same concept with food or your job or like literally anything else? Like we have to kind of treat food like same thing. Like if you dread whatever you're gonna eat for breakfast, don't eat it. If you're gonna like be like, oh, how long do I have to be on this diet to lose this weight? That diet is not gonna work for you. So like one of my personal struggles, so I happen to be an identical twin, and identical twins have, I looked this up while we were all talking, they have a 33% higher chance of having eating disorders. Many identical twins have had eating disorders or have at one point toxically compared themselves to the point where they have to like, you know, pull it back a little. And I'm definitely guilty of that with my own sister. So that's something that I think both of us used to undereat quite a lot because nobody wants to be the fat twin. Nobody wants to be the twin, and especially in school because kids are cruel. They'll be like, well, I can tell the difference because that one's fat. Don't say it, honey. Like, you know, like, but it's too late. You've already said it. Somebody's already called one of them the fat twin. So, not that we, you know, either one of us have ever had like a particularly like noticeable weight change than the other, but there's that pressure of you got to kind of stay the same weight. So we kind of, I mean, the cool thing about it though is that we both started having like healthier eating habits, and we both discovered it on our own. So she started on this like minimally processed type of diet, and like she would just buy food from Trader Joe's, and all of a sudden all her muscles showing and her fat's not showing. I'm like, how did you do that? And then she told me her diet, so I hopped on the same diet. So we both kind of like, you know, because if it works for her, it's going to work for me. So that kind of, you know, it's like a double-edged sword of like, well, you know, you kind of have a guinea pig on your side. And so we would figure out what worked for us together. So we, you know, I finally found the diet that works for me and the lifestyle that works for me. And like, it's cool that we've all shared like times where we've binged or times where we've like, you know, eaten a lot or just, you know, because like everybody does it behind what people preach and what happens behind closed doors are different things. So like if you eat, you know, a lot on a certain night, just forgive yourself, because like it's like Alex said, when you stress out, you're going to gain weight. And what's happened during this pandemic is a lot of us have experienced long periods of flight or flight mode. I said flight or flight mode. And what happens during that is that your body produces a lot of cortisol because of the stress. And when you have a lot of cortisol running through your body, what's going to happen? You're hungry. You're a lot. So now we're like hungrier for like, you know, a lot quicker. And we're at home for a lot longer, and we're not going out to get groceries, and we're not doing all this stuff. So I just feel like it's really important to like forgive yourself for all of that shit in 2020. Because like, you know, you broke out of your routine, and like Alex said, routine is like really important when it comes to that. So yeah, that's what I gotta say on that.
Thank you for sharing. Before I go to you, strikarz, I just wanted to touch base on something that you said that is sort of like a tip from me. I have moved away from the term diet. This isn't to attack you, Nyla, or anyone else here if you've used that term, but for me personally, the mental part of that plays in. Diet implies that this is short term, that you're just going to do this for like 3 months, 6 months, a year, and then you're going to go back to the way you're eating. That's what a diet to me is, and I've moved to using lifestyle change or just eating well. A lifestyle change for me means I'm just going to eat better every day that I can, and again, just moderate my food. Whereas like a diet is like, oh, yep, I'm on a diet for right now, and then once I lose this weight, I'm just gonna go back to eating the way I was before because I've lost the weight and everything's great. So I just wanted to quickly like mention that. I'm writing all these keywords down that I want to talk about. But yeah, strikarz, if you have any, what's the best tip that you can share with us?
Trying to think here. I actually had it, and then you touched on something, and I literally like completely lost my train of thought of what it was I was going to say.
I
So I'm gonna be
apologize.
honest. No, it's no. I might have to take a rain check on this one. I'm sorry.
No,
If
no.
it comes back to me, I'll say something.
That's totally okay. Don't worry. Thank you guys for sharing. I'm reading the chat right now. Everyone is talking about how we hate dishes. I love cooking, and I haven't been able to do that as much. And then with working full time, it's so hard to, come home from work or leave your office desk at home and then just go into the kitchen and cook and then clean the dishes. And it's just a hassle. Eating out is like the way to go sometimes, but obviously not the best choice.
I just remembered. I remembered what it
Okay.
was.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I don't know about all of you. So I live in an environment where I am not in a dense city or urban area. So my big thing is I like to take 3 10-minute walks a day, just to at least get myself out of the house. And like I have my dog with who makes it way easier because I love walking my dog and how happy he gets when he walks. So kind of gives me something to look forward to every day. So that's like my tip is that even that 3 10 minutes walks a day, if you weren't doing that before, is going to make a huge improvement in a lot of factors for you. So it's like just a little bit of activity a few times a day can make a dramatic improvement in your mental state, and also just get you the heck out of the cabin fever. But I know a lot of some people are in winter right now, so a 10-minute trudge through the snow might not sound that great. Y'all got hit with a blizzard while I'm here in Florida, and it's 70 degrees. So I know that I'm speaking from a place of I still have decent weather here.
Yeah,
30 minutes a
Can't
day
confirm,
is really
Northeast
good
is
too.
winter.
Yeah, that's awesome. Chris, what'd
I'm
you
in
say?
California. Oh, sorry.
No,
Go ahead.
it's okay.
I was just saying, can't confirm the Northeast has winter. There's a lot of snow on the ground right now.
It didn't
Okay.
stop me from walking my dog, though. Even when I lived in New England, I would walk him, and then I would put little rubber booties on him, and he would walk around like this with the rubber booties on. And he's like, "What is this?" But then it's like, "Well, it's to keep your paws from freezing, dude. So what do you want from me?"
Yeah. Here in Massachusetts, they salt the roads because of the snowstorms. Because when the snow melts, the water on the roads, and then at night it freezes again, so it's just like a sheet of ice. So they just salt the roads. And Bailey, like, she gets salt in her paws all the time, and just like kind of stands there like whimpering at us, and it's heartbreaking. So it's hard to right now for people who live in the Northeast to go for walks outside. I wish I could do that.
So sorry. I'm over here in California, warming it up with the Floridians, whatever. How do you say that?
Floridans.
The Floridians.
You guys are
It's sunny here
Floridans.
too.
Floridians.
Yes, Floridians.
A man from Florida today. No, just kidding.
I do have a couple more questions, but I also just want to let you know, I told you guys here talking with me right now that this would probably be about an hour. We are approaching that mark, so if you do have other things to get through throughout the day, you are absolutely welcome to leave. I don't want to like hold you up, but this is great conversation. My next question is, what inspires you? And it doesn't have to be a what, it could be a who, it could be a reason.
I think for me, it's definitely a who. There's some of you might be familiar with a content creator and pro TCG player named Brian Kibler, who was originally known as like one of the best Magic the Gathering players in the world, and now streams a lot of Hearthstone and has generally become a big internet personality. And he just turned 40 this year, and outside of his like outside of his uncolored hair, which has a little bit of gray in it, you would have no clue by looking at him, that he's in his 40s and is like, you know, overall like an incredibly healthy person. And when you look at pictures of him from like 15 to 20 years ago, it's such a major difference in overall, like, you know, not only his physique and appearance, but also, just his lifestyle and how he takes care of himself. And that, you know, he can do a lot more physically and feels a lot better than he did in his 20s. And not many people in their 40s can say that. And, you know, when I think about, who I want to be, in my 40s, at least when it comes to, like health and wellness, he's somebody I look up to who's incredibly disciplined, with his regime, both in diet and in exercise, and has been able to, make it work for him. He's not trying to, break records. He's not trying to, you know, go to the extremes like we had talked about avoiding before, but just, good, solid, consistent habits over time, you know, leading him to, become, this overall, like, way above average, healthy 40-year-old. And, um, you know, I think ultimately my biggest concern is, when I get into my 40s and 50s, am I going to fall apart? And, so having somebody who is, especially someone who's like a nerd and plays games all the time, like it's literally his job to sit in a chair, for 8-9 hours a day and play video games, that, you know, you can do this. Like, you know, this is approachable, and this is something that can be achieved. And it's something that, something that really speaks to me, and something that I want to emulate, 10 years down the road once I get to his age.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I appreciate that you're not only thinking about the now, but you're thinking about the future Chris, the older Chris, and everything you do now plays into that. Thank you for sharing. I'm gonna pick Nyla. You want to go next?
There's something I've always strongly felt, even since I was little, because I've always been really athletic. A lot of people in my family have been really athletic, so that's just always been in me to just, push in sports and push in all this. And then there was this quote by Socrates that I found in my teens, that it was just like, it's a shame for someone to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which their body is capable. So I just felt like the most valuable possession I own on this earth is the vessel that literally carries my life. Like, my body is my most prized possession. So why wouldn't I treasure it? Why wouldn't I take the best care of it that I possibly can? And it's not just with healthy eating. It's also just like, moisturizer and sunblock. And I just like really take care of it. And like, I stay up to date on my health routine checkups. And it's just, it's the thing that carries you throughout the day. It's the thing that affects your mood, affects whether you're happy, whether you're miserable. So why wouldn't you want to wake up feeling amazing every day? Like, I could buy the most expensive purse I own, but if at the end of the day I'm falling apart because I didn't take care of myself, I'm not even going to enjoy it. So like, my motivation is like not just the people around me, but also just wanting to treasure the thing that keeps me alive, you know?
Yep. Chat is saying amen to that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. I also love that perspective. I think I'm biased. I'm gonna love all of your perspectives once you share. But I like the way that you think about who you are as a person. Like, you're not just like, oh, I messed up this one day with eating. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you're thinking about your entire life, your entire body, and that's fantastic. Sujit, what inspires you?
I feel like this is a little bit hard for me to answer. I don't know if there's any specific person or specific thing that inspires me, but I will say that whenever, I see people um make changes to their lives to try to better themselves, like, I find that I feel really happy that they're taking that step to do that. So I guess I'll call that inspiration. I won't say that it always necessarily like results in me wanting to do it, but sometimes it does. But I just get a lot of happiness when I see other people, you know, take like attempt to try to just be better or grow as a person, because that's something that I value, just growth.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. And I appreciate your honesty. I'm not expecting you to have like the perfect answer the moment I ask, because it's almost like philosophical. The It's funny. What got me into running like 3 years ago was photographing marathons and seeing how happy people were when they crossed the finish line, and how fit they looked. And I was just like, I want to be like that. Like, I want to be that person who is literally yelling in joy after running 26 miles. Like, who the fuck is happy after doing that? They are, and I want to be like them. So, you're even though you don't have like a certain who or like a super solid reason about what inspires you, like you do have a great source of inspiration, and I admire that. Thank you for sharing. Um,
I just have one comment about the running.
yeah.
I hate running. I got up to about 7 miles, like to the like I trained up to where I could run 7
Hi,
miles.
Mega Man. How are you?
But I never ever liked it. That's
Nice
all
to
I'm gonna
formally meet you,
say.
by the way.
I hate it.
Chris, you got cut off.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I really wish I liked steady state cardio because it just drives me insane. So like that's why dance games have been so good for me, is because it's like the opposite. It's, you know, high intensity intervals with like good
Yeah.
music where I can just kind of forget about, you know, how hard I'm breathing. You know, it's just running. I just think about it too much, and I haven't found that headspace to where, you know, I can really just enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah,
For me,
I feel
running,
that.
like, it takes me like a mile to actually get into it. Like when I start off, I'm like, well, fuck, this sucks. Like everything hurts. My joints are stiff. It's cold outside. Hurts my feet. This song sucks. I'm just gonna keep skipping songs until I actually get a good one. You know. But it takes a little while to get into running. Is this Chris? I'm sorry. Is this why you didn't get into ITG stamina? Because it's sustained cardio.
Well, I did actually for a while. This was, I guess it was like 2014 to like the first half of 2015, where I like really I wanted to do it to like see how far I could go, you know, because I had never really been like a dance game player that was known for like doing well at hard stuff. In fact, I had a huge drop off like once I got to a certain level, and I didn't want to be like that anymore. So I just went fully, you know, we talk about avoiding extremes, but I went straight into an extreme. I'm just like, I'm only going to play stamina, and, you know, let's see where we can go. And, you know, got to a point to where I was passing a handful of 17s and then stopped having fun, and, you know, then just kind of moved on. And but it was a good exercise to, you know, to see how uncomfortable I could make myself, you know, and see, um you know, see what I could do physically. And it really gave me a lot of confidence, you know, to going forward, even just focusing on tech and later on DDR. So no, I did not become a lifer with stamina, but I did it enough to, you know, get an idea of what it was like to really push yourself, and it was still very worthwhile.
Thank you for sharing. Um, I think both Alexes you have not gone yet, right?
I had a comment about running.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, Running was something that's interesting to me because I did do some distance running and cross country in high school, but it was not something that I would say I particularly enjoyed. Like, I don't know, if someone asked me to go on a run, it doesn't particularly motivate me. But on the other hand, like, I felt like I enjoyed a lot more if it was like running for like a purpose. For what I mean by that is like when I played soccer, like I never even noticed like
Yeah,
the running aspect because
Yeah.
like the goal of that was to like get the ball into the goalpost. So like I would run, and it was like it's a requirement to play the game. But I've had a lot more fun playing soccer because I wasn't thinking about the running aspect, which I didn't really particularly care for. Um, but the gamification of running was what I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Similarly, in college, I was like part of the Humans versus Zombies club, where we just shoot each other with Nerf guns.
Oh my
And then
God.
I remember one of the missions, I went back home. I was like, I think I ran a lot, and then when I mapped out my path, I ran 7 miles, just running away from zombies. Just
That's
and
amazing.
it's I didn't even realize that I ran that much.
This is the first time I've ever heard of this being a club in school.
I would love this game, but the next time we can all hang out, I would
It's so much fun.
Yeah, I'm down for this.
Yeah, I'm down too.
fight.
I'm in.
Amazing.
Mrs. Figgies, would you like to go next?
I would be the outlier here about running.
Yeah,
We're talking about who inspires us, but it actually ties into who inspires me. So I hated running in high school. I didn't do it. I was a marching band person, which goes along with what Sujit was saying. I can move. I'll do field shows all day long, play an instrument, but I hated running. Forget it. So and speaking on to what Patty said, I was shooting races back in 2014, 2015, and seeing these people, I was like, I want to see if I can do running. I can play dance games. I have cardio, fitness. I could do this, right? So I decided to run for the first time, on my own back in 2016. And I did a race and I loved it. And I've been running since, but this ties into who inspires me is actually my dad. One of my biggest goals is actually to qualify for Boston Marathon. Now, if you guys are not familiar with what that means, Boston Marathon is incredibly competitive to qualify for. It's very hard. You have to meet a time just to get in. And right now, I believe for someone my age, women my age, their qualifying time is they have to run a marathon, I think in 3 hours and 30 minutes. And if you get that time, they don't necessarily take you because they go by fastest times and then they trickle down until they get to the people closer to that qualifying time. Well, my dad actually ran Boston twice, and he qualified when he was in his 40s and 50s. He's going to be 76 next week, and he can still outrun me.
Wow.
And that's someone who really inspires me. So when I would run my races, he'd support me. He would come and watch me run. And it was just something that it inspired me to really want to achieve this goal, even though I've been thrown off with the whole pregnancy thing and trying to lose weight again, and getting back into that training. But it's I always remind myself, I'm my dad did it when he was 50 something. I can do it in my 30s. It's not, it's achievable if I put my mind to it. And then the other person is my husband. With dance games, if there's anyone that's really, really pushed me with dance games, it's him. And just seeing him play and how incredibly talented he is with dance games, it's pushed me to want to be better than I can ever imagine. If, put your mind to it and push and, just be dedicated to that. And so, yeah, that's my story.
I love that, and chat also loves that, and thank you for sharing. For those of you here and in chat, I just want to share that for women aged 18 to 34, the qualifying times that are accepted for the 2020 Boston Marathon is you have to be faster and including than 3 hours and 28 minutes. That breaks down to roughly a 7 minute and 55 second minute per mile. You have to do that 26 times. And then 0.2. Yeah. It sounded weird to say 26.2 times, but basically you have to do that 26 times. And that is so fast. That is insanely fast. My fastest mile personally was 8.5 minutes, and I fell to the ground after and just sat there for 5 minutes just trying to catch my breath. It's incredible. And Mrs. Figgies, you're absolutely going to get it. Lalapo, you actually commented on something I wanted to bring up. For those of you who don't know what she's referencing, Mrs. Figgies, you could actually speak to the song and everything, but
Yeah.
Seth was streaming Sea of Thieves.
No, it
No,
was when I was
is it
streaming.
different?
Yeah, this is when this is when I was streaming Pump, and I was trying to go for a triple S on an 18, which I have never done before, and I kept playing the song, and I got to the end and I dropped the hold because I don't know, I brain farted and I moved my foot, and he started yelling at me. He's like, "What's wrong with you? Why did you do that? What?" And I'm just like laughing because I'm like, "Why did I do that?" So like I had posted because I had posted it in Pump It Up Players on Facebook, and I put the video clip in the comments. And it was he was laughing. Well, he was like kind of mad, but I was just laughing because I'm like, I don't know what I was doing. But long story short, I ended up getting the triple S, so it was all good.
Yeah, that was incredible. I'm gonna comment on that really quick before getting to you, Strikarz. But before I do, Nyla just texted me saying that she got the blue screen of death, and that's why she's like frozen like that right now.
I was like, she was sitting like that very still for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize she just texted, so she'll be back shortly. Maybe, hopefully. Well, okay, hold
There
on.
it is.
Yeah, she'll.
Oh, yeah,
I'll put her
finally
back
registered
in
that
when
she's
she's
not here.
back. I forget what I was gonna say. Oh, the video that I was thinking of before I get to you, Strikarz, is the one where Seth was playing Sea of Thieves and you were going for like a 21, I think, and
22.
22.
My first 22.
Yeah, and he was like playing Sea of Thieves, talking with chat, and then he just stopped talking with chat to just yell at you to pass the song, and that just kind of speaks to how much he pushes you. So it's awesome that he's one of your
Yeah.
inspirations. Strikarz, last but not least, what inspires you?
So for me, I don't know. Like I just have an internal drive. I can't explain why. I just do. That I always want to be the best me at whatever whatever I put my mind to. So it's probably why I'm attracted to powerlifting and like seeing how much I can try and crush, how much weight I can crush myself underneath, essentially. Like because that's literally like when you get to powerlifting and squatting, like you're basically trying to have the bar not crush you. But um I don't know, it's like it's always a pursuit of like being the best that I can be, like set, and then like just seeing how far I can take it. The same thing happened with dance games, same thing happened to me with Beatmania 2DX, which is another rhythm and music game that falls in the same genre as DDR and ITG. Like it's just always like let's see how far can I take this until like I feel like I'm grinding too much to where I don't enjoy it anymore. I don't know, I'm always about pushing my limits because I feel like a lot of our limits are imposed on by ourselves. Like you like the reason why you can't do something is because you say you can't or you don't apply yourself enough to do it. So like I guess it's like always to try and like quell that self-doubt that like I can't accomplish something. I don't know, like it's I just always have that internal drive that I'm always trying to be the best me.
I can relate.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. I don't think I share the same drive as you fully because I can be pretty lazy sometimes, and I fully embrace that when it happens. But I love that you're always trying to push yourself.
Oh, I'm not saying that I don't have leisure time. I mean, I might spend like I just played the medium. I just beat it in like 10 hours over the course of like 2 or 3 days. It's like I'm not saying that it's like an always on kind of thing, but if I'm going to do something, it's like I'm not going to half-ass it.
Yeah, I respect that. My last question is a little bit of a fun one, and this won't be as challenging, Sujit, I promise. What's your favorite comfort food?
Oh, that's easy to answer.
Is it okay? Can I just guess for you, Suji?
You can just guess.
Is it going to be a burrito from Chipotle?
It's gonna be a burrito from Chipotle. I have a couple in my fridge right now.
Do you mind sharing with chat what you put in your burritos from Chipotle?
I get a double wrap burrito with extra black beans, extra red salsa, then the medium salsa, hot salsa, extra corn, and extra cheese. And that's about it. But I put so much in it, it's like this big. It's very big.
I
It
have
lasts like almost 2 meals.
Lullapo is asking if it's in your fridge or your freezer.
It's in my fridge. So the freezer is when I want to eat it very, very soon. But if it's for long term, I put it in the fridge. Did I ever tell you about the story where I put a burrito in my freezer and then forgot about it?
No.
there's a
It
I
sounds like
remember
this doesn't end well.
so I spent time trying to figure out like it was like rock solid, right? It was like ice, basically. I like bit into it once and I was like, all right, I can't eat this. So I spent like this is first one. This is like 1:30 in the morning, and I'm like, I really am hungry and I want to eat this burrito. So I ended up coming up with like ways of how to like thaw it, and yeah, and eventually like, cause I didn't want to put it in the microwave because then the tortilla would get too hard. So eventually, and I tried things like putting it in a pot and then putting it on like uh the stove to try to like, I don't know, cool it, to heat it up. And I don't want to. I wanted to like keep. I need to figure out a way to like uniformly heat it up. Otherwise, like the center would be too cold, while the outside would be hot. But yeah, it took about 2 hours for me to figure out a way to do it. I forgot how I did it. It was a while ago. But I know there's like a whole Facebook thread that I made when I did it. I was documenting it while I was doing it.
That's amazing.
But yeah, what part doesn't make sense?
So you said, correct me if I'm mistaken, but you said if you're going to eat burrito quickly, you put it in the freezer, and then if you're okay, can you elaborate, because I am not the only one that.
Yeah, that sounds backwards to me.
What I mean by that is I want to cool it down quickly, so it's gonna cool down more quickly in a freezer than it would in the fridge, because it's colder. So I have to wait less time for it to get to the temperature that I want before I eat it.
Can you elaborate on the temperature that you want? Because burritos are warm.
It's just cold, but not frozen. So like freezer temperature is fine. Or not freezer, sorry. The temperature of the fridge is fine. But if you can't put it in the freezer because then it freezes.
I feel like chat entirely does not agree with you, but it's okay. We'll respect everyone's opinion.
You gotta have cold. You gotta try a cold burrito from Chipotle. If it's a vegetarian burrito, I like strongly recommend trying it.
Thank you for sharing.
If it has meat in it, I could understand, like, not wanting it cold. But if you're getting a veggie burrito, you should get a cold burrito. Just get a burrito from Chipotle. Throw it in the fridge, eat it like sometime down the line, and try it. It tastes really good. It's because the cheese and the salsas taste very good.
Thank you for sharing. I'll comment more on that in a moment. Mrs. Figgies, I do know you have to get going soon. Would you like to go next?
Sure. Yeah, I gotta be mom.
Yeah.
So this one's easy. Mac and cheese and ramen. Or anything with cheese. I love cheese.
Ken confirms she does love cheese.
Cheese. It's cheese. I don't know about that fake cheese, but
We made the best
Havarti cheese.
poutine, for the record.
Fake poutine, yes. No, but I absolutely love mac and cheese. Like I can make all kinds of different mac and cheese and I love it.
Yeah.
And then ramen. A lot.
Ramen is so good. Thank you for sharing. Strikarz, would you like to go next?
Yeah, so like I was thinking about this, and I would have to say one specific is New York style like cheese pizza is something that I miss being in Florida, but that's something that's like a staple of mine that I used to always enjoy. But my other like thing that I like love is ice cream. I have tried so many different types of ice cream. Like if you name a flavor of Ben and Jerry's, unless it has almonds in it, I've eaten it. Like I love ice cream.
Ice cream is fantastic. I also I echo. I like a food again. Chris.
I like turtles.
Chris, last but not least, what's your favorite comfort food?
Oh, it really depends. Like, I don't have like I don't really have like one thing that I can point to and say like that's the thing that I want most often. It's so mood dependent. But I have a short list of like comfort food that I really enjoy. It's funny you brought up Ben and Jerry's Strikers because the Tonight Dough is like my goat flavor, and I very rarely buy it because I finish the pint as soon as I get it inside my house.
Is it like Pringles? Once you pop the fun, don't stop.
Exactly, and, and thank God they don't sell it in a gallon because that would be even worse. Um, I mean, there's I think for me like I love Five Guys. Like it's probably my probably one of my favorite burgers I've ever had, and like it's nice that it's probably my favorite like big box burger just because like it's a burger I can get in most areas, you know. There's plenty of like smaller burgers that like, you know, are local to a particular area that I also like, but most people are not going to really know what they are. But Five Guys is the one, you know, that I'm always very happy to go to, and it's everywhere, which is really nice. And um, I have to echo ramen as well. Like I love like really good ramen. It's a shame that it's kind of hard to find, you know, where I live now. It's a rare treat, but when I lived in the city, it was amazing, and I really enjoyed eating it. And honestly, a good, you know, a good solid like pepperoni pizza, preferably New York style. Um, Deep dish is a casserole. That's my hot take.
Well, I don't want to get into an
It's
argument right
okay.
now.
Eh. Chicago style never really did it for me. I went to Chicago and had Chicago style pizza at places that Chicago people from Chicago recommended me, and I'm kind of like, it's okay. I mean, I'm not jumping for joy for it. It's a thing.
hmm
I will say though, Giordano's did taste pretty amazing.
Oh my god.
Oh, I
That's
love
like the one exception.
Oh my god. Same.
I,
So the
I had Giordano's and Lou Malnati's. I had both of them, and I was kind of like, it's okay.
when I ran my one and only marathon, it was the Chicago Marathon in 2018. Um, dude, I had Giordano's before, and I was like, this is the best because you need to carb load the 48 hours before you run a marathon, and I went ham on carb loading. I was having pasta. I was having Giordano's deep dish pizza. It was the best weekend of my life, except for when I was running. The food was great. Thank you guys for sharing. I think my favorite comfort food, it's gonna be the sweet stuff. So brownies, cookies, ice cream. I really can't pick just one because if any of them are around, I'm going to have it. That's definitely what it is for me. Before I wrap this up, were there any other final thoughts that anyone here wanted to share?
Mercy
People
wants to
should
say
try
cat.
cold Chipotle burritos.
That's the takeaway.
I'm sorry, I was laughing because Alex, I saw your kid messing with your headphones and trying to rip them off, and I see you trying to be like, no, don't do that.
She's just saying cat. She's like, cat? Cat?
Cat? Oh, that was so cute. Say it again.
Cat? Can you say cat? Oh, she's saying
Aw.
tata. She says caca too. So
Caca.
Nice.
there you go.
She's
She's
trying.
so cute.
How old is she now?
She's 16 months.
Oh my
I
god.
was gonna say, does
Oh,
she
wow.
already have rhythm now? Because I mean, you were playing dance games when she was in the womb, so you know maybe she's got it.
She does actually. So when I play music, she bobs her head, but like she bobs it to the beat sometimes. It's really bizarre. Like I noticed it when I played like Brain Power or something. She was just like
That's so
rocking out.
funny.
She's gonna be she's gonna be the future top player in What in your what is it? What do you call the female or the women's dance
Oh,
competitions now?
Valkyrie.
Like, yeah.
Oh yeah, she has a Bohemian onesie and it has the Valkyrie logo on it. And she
Nice.
also has her own dance game machine. She has a pump jump. So
Oh,
she's ready.
Sorry, you just said Valkyries, and that just reminded me of God of War, where you have to fight the Valkyries, and that was like that was hard. Like you had to play those perfectly. Sorry, that just brought me back to that.
No worries, no worries. Cool. So to just wrap this up, I just want to say first, thank you guys. I have to say I was honest. I didn't actually expect to hear all of these varying perspectives, but it was really insightful and showed just like not so much like what everyone's like struggling with, but the different like challenges that we have in our lives, because it's so easy to get caught up in like what you are doing and what is going on in your life, and then not be able to relate or understand what's going on in everyone else's. But yeah, chat, everyone here on screen with me, thank you guys so much. This was absolutely wonderful. I appreciate you taking the time. I realize we went a little bit over what I had quoted to you guys, but I hope that that's okay. We're in a pandemic, so I don't think I actually ruined many plans, if any. I hope not. But yeah, if you guys have any final thoughts, feel free to share. Otherwise, we will end the segment.
Thanks for having me, Patty.
One
Yeah.
party thought. Do you have tickets?
What?
Do you have tickets
Tickets for what?
to the gun show?
Oh my god.
I gotcha.
I didn't know where you were going with that.
got him.
I don't know. I wanted to leave on a fun note. I don't know. It was just me.
No, I love that. I love that. Thank you. Yeah, thank you again. I appreciate you guys being here. I know some of you I had asked very, very last minute. A couple of you I asked like a week ago. A few of you I asked a couple hours ago. So I appreciate your flexibility. This was awesome, and I look forward to doing more in the future.
This is great. Appreciate you having us.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for
fun.
having us.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank
I
you.
will chat with all of you shortly. Bye.